Hi, so I was just watching, what was it? I guess Chris Hedges talked to the Bad Faith podcast about, the Bad Faith show about AOC and whether she's, you know, whether she's a bad faith actor or whether she's just, I don't know. It was a bit confusing. Like, I mean, Chris Hedges started by being like, well, I think she has her heart in the right place, and she's not like one of those bad people like Mitch McConnell and Trump, and basically sounding like a complete shit lib. And then maybe he started reading the room and seeing the live chat, and or what, for whatever reason, he then shifted gears to like be more critical, and but still he's just saying, well, she just they just realize how hard it is to actually go up against the rest of Congress and potentially futile, and also they see how lucrative and nice and fun and safe it is to just get along in Congress. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I just wanted to like talk about strategies in terms of politics. Like on some level, there's always the good chance that that no matter how supposedly free and fair and democratic an election was, and no matter how large of a victory the left might secure, or any kind of populist element, it would always be basically overridden by the deep state or whatever. The government would step in, either the judiciary or the something. So it's hard to know like if there's any hope in electoralism in that sense. But at the same time, electoralism is a way that we can build movements in the hopes that it will be honored if we could win. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's the same task. This is something that Bernie was, very, accurate in his assessment of, from, I guess, early on in Vermont. He was doing, he was like promoting his politics. Like, he ran for, I guess, mayor of Burlington. I think he ran a few times before he won. And for him, like, he viewed, I'm not entirely sure on that, I believe so, and that he said, but I know that he said that a campaign itself should be its own, it should be like, you can make use of a campaign to just educate the masses, which as a leftist should be one of your main focuses regardless. That's another thing, is when I hear people insult the internet and say, oh, the internet this and social media that. The internet and social media are one of the primary ways to spread information with each other, organize with each other. So I think, yeah, it shows that, like, when people just are so quick to shit on the internet, I think it shows like they devalue that. They devalue what are really very fundamental needs of our movement, which is to communicate with each other, organize with each other, and share information. I don't know, it's just cool to be like, oh, internet activism, yeah, that's lame or whatever. But if you go along with that, like, I don't know, it's just contrary to like reality. Like, in reality, that's of central importance. Like, yeah, there's other things that are also very important and are also of central importance, but not over and above, but alongside organizing and educating and sharing information. So anyway, like, you know, you can always use like all this, like even so Bernie, you know, he used his campaigns to do that, and to good effect, you know, like I don't know what happened to him or whatever, but it helped us, you know. I remember in like 2011 when I was like starting with Occupy Wall Street, whatever, Occupy San Jose, and I stood up at like the, you know, Occupy Assembly in San Jose, and I was like, you know, you know, hi, my name's Rowan, and I occupy because, you know, there was something like you say, I occupy because, or something, I'm here because, and I said, because I'm a socialist revolutionary. And like I was the only person there like that said that used even the word socialism. This was like in 2011. It was all this focus just on, you know, very broad terms and whatever. And so yeah, Bernie helped bring socialism more to the mainstream. But I mean, at the end of the day, like if you look at what he certainly hasn't revolutionized the Democrats. All he's done is made it safe for Democrats to virtue signal as if they support socialism, and then also be like rabidly anti-socialist in their actual actions and policies and whatever, or who they, you know, submit to, whose authority they submit to, whether it's Pelosi or Schumer or the Republicans or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, so on some level, we should always have like we should never put all our hopes on electoralism. I'd say that because, like I say, there's always a huge chance that if we actually had a candidate, not even necessarily like even a socialist or a revolutionary or even a populist, but honestly just a normal person that was like or just like a decent human being, I don't think they would allow just a decent, you know, person to become president, because they know that a decent person might not go along with what actually goes on in the government, and so that wouldn't jive. So like, I don't know if that's a use of that word. I think so. So yeah, like we should have, you know, we should be realistic. I do think like, yeah, it's funny about Chris Hedges. Anyway, whatever. I mean, Chris Hedges, kind of like Jimmy, like I resented both of them for like shitting all over Bernie, like during the primary. I think Chris Hedges might have even done it in 2016 though, so that was even worse. But to some extent, you know, they were both right, like that Bernie was. But I mean, who's to say, was Bernie a sheepdog? I mean, I don't know. I would be interested to know if there were people who wouldn't have voted Democrat but did because of Bernie. I mean, I think there was a lot of people that voted for Bernie and famously like didn't vote, or, you know, in the general, or voted for Jill Stein or for Howie Hawkins or even for Trump. And like, so I'm not sure if Bernie's intention was to be a sheep herder, but or a sheepdog or whatever the heck. Shepherd us into the Dems. But I mean, at this point, people who still but I think like a lot of the people who still like who defend like so vociferously like Bernie and AOC from leftist criticism, like a lot of those people, they're probably more Democrat, or a lot of them are more Democrat than leftist anyway. So they would be Democrats without Bernie. Like Bernie didn't bring them to the Democratic Party. I would doubt. They're dyed in the wool cult members. But like, but it is a strange thing because just what like the weird convoluted nature of people being like progressives but really stymieing progressivism. It's like it's fully understandable why the DNC pays people to do that. It's just strange to see like when regular people do that. But a lot of times people just follow certain, they have their people they follow in the blue checks, and then so yeah, I think like we should be also and also the MPP, like the Movement for People's Party. I was just watching Jimmy Dore interview or talk to Nick Brana, and I mean the elephant in the room is the Green Party. Like, I mean, it's hard to know. Like on some level, so sometimes you got to wonder, like, are all the parties like controlled by are they all controlled by operatives, or are they all corrupted or compromised? But like but I mean, obviously the Democrats and Republicans are, but with the Greens, I don't want to be too paranoid. So I mean, I would have to say like you have to have a better reason to want to break from the Greens, like Nick Brana and I guess kind of Jimmy Dore seems to want to do, because they have like ballot access in a lot of states. They got ballot access in almost 50 states in 2016, I think. And the libertarians, I think the libertarians did better than the Greens. I would like to see an effort to form at least a temporary and alliance or like fusion between at least those libertarians who could tolerate some socialism, as long as we helped to make all the civil liberties that they believe in, which we should believe in as well. But certainly the Green Party, at the very least, rather than starting a new party and how long that will take to get all the ballot access and everything like that. And honestly, even just the fact that like they say that they, Nick Brana was saying that like the Green Party got on almost every ballot with only $250,000 annual budget. And he's saying like the Movement for People's Party, and he said they only had 3 like national full-time workers or something. And he says like the Movement for People's Party is already way ahead of them, because they've raised like apparently a lot more money than that, and they've hired more people than that. But like, imagine if they had just hired those people to help Howie Hawkins freaking win. I mean, I think there's so many of them that had like TDS that they were just not, even though, that's kind of against their whole like basis of what they are. But I mean, there is a certain streak of TDS running through, like even Nick Brana, he's going on about this thing that, I mean, a lot of people go on about like, okay, well, if Trump, like Trump isn't the worst, but if we keep electing these shitlib centrist Dems, we're going to get worse than Trump. We're going to get somebody who's as, fascist as Trump is, but is smart. And then that's going to be really bad. That's going to be the bad thing that will happen if. And I'm over here like, hello, like we have a fascist government, a full fascist government. I don't know if they're smart, if they're not smart, but they're pretty effective in their fascism, and they have been for, forever. So like, I think it's a funny analysis. Also, it just goes on this idea that like Trump's fascist versus Trump's more fascist compared to the Dems. Only the Republicans can be fascist. But it's like in every definition like that you could look up of fascism, the Democrats are fully, well within the margins. And, it's like a fusion of corporate and state power, military power, jingoistic, nationalistic, imperialistic. So yeah, like I don't trust like MPP, but I can't say like I don't trust them enough to be like that they're necessarily like bad actors overall. Like, I mean, we'll see where this goes, and who knows, like, I mean, they've, at least on paper, they've had like good takes on some stuff, but it just seems weird to me when they're coming out of nowhere saying like, oh, here's this party that's been trying to do this, and they blame that party for failing. And then it's funny, whenever they're trying to argue why we need a new third party, they point to the failures of the Green Party. And whenever somebody says a third party can't succeed, they point to the successes of the Green Party and say, oh, look at all these, look how they got on all these ballots and stuff. So like, I just think like if they're starting from I guess they claim that they reached out to the Greens, but I really just want to know like what shape that took, because I mean, if there could be something open, transparent, and say, okay, if there is any fundamental issue with the Greens, like the structure of the party or something, could present like something to say, like if the Green Party can address this, the Movement for People's Party and probably a bunch of other people would be interested in, or hopefully other people would be interested in helping them to expand and succeed. Like that's like what leftists do. Like that's what Howie Hawkins did. That's what Angela Walker did. They were a fusion ticket from the socialist, forget the full name of the party, but the Socialist Party and the Green Party and a bunch of parties actually, endorsed them. So that's what we need, not like this, like we don't like they literally said, I believe they literally said that, well, I don't know if they used the word, but I remember I was on a Zoom call in I guess last spring or something, where they were talking about where the People's Party was trying to organize, and it was where Fiorella was there and Nick Brana was talking, and I don't know if it was him. I thought somebody had been talking about the Green Party and why, like, and I don't know if they used the word branding. They might have used the word branding, but if not, it was, at least that was basically what they were saying. Like, it's just like a branding issue. I think they used the word branding. So we're gonna scrap this party that has like, like all these, all this ballot access, all this strength behind it and just totally ditch it and start some new total thing separately from scratch just because of branding. That's like, so I've never had like, I don't trust like MPP, but still see where it goes. I'm not going to write it off entirely. And if it does become a thing, I will look to try to, you know, see if we can take it over and actually turn it into a people's party. I know that there have been calls for that by people who were opposed to Brana and some of his crew. So, you know, like, I just like the criticisms they have of the Greens, they're not sufficiently like different from that themselves. And some people associated with them were attacking the Green Party. And a lot of people associated with them or who went to their like rally, you know, they were like Democrats. They were like Biden people, or they were voting for Biden. So like, I don't know, like I think there are huge problems with the Greens, or there certainly are problems with the Greens, but I think the good faith like, and you know, smart thing to do would be to try to work on those things in a real way, not just like, you know, like yell at some people on Twitter for a while, and then when they don't respond like positively, just be like, we're gonna do our own party. Like, and also I think we shouldn't rule out running independent candidates. You know, like that's how Jesse Ventura won, I believe, in although maybe he was libertarian, I don't know. I think he ran at least once as an independent. And people should be able to do that. You know, the idea that everybody should have to have a party to run is anti-democratic. You know, anybody should be able to mount a campaign if they have ideas that resonate with the people. All right, so yeah, I'll just like leave it there. But yeah, I don't know. I think like there's a lot of good things happening on the left in terms of people sorting out who's who and what's what. But yeah, like we shouldn't have any illusions of where we're headed, and yeah, like the electoral thing always has to be like an option A, in case they would actually let us win and we could win. And if not, at least it still helps us build solidarity, and it shows that we are in good faith, that we, you know, we honor the democratic like idea. We're not just trying to like lord it over people like the people in power now do. So like, but yeah, we should also focus on other things, focus on helping, you know, mutual aid and just, you know, like general strikes and other ways to oppose the system, and just like non-compliance and divestment from, you know, fascism in general. So, all right, thank you, and take care. Solidarity.